Well, good morning. This is he. It's a beautiful December morning. However, this is your November tape. As I came up the hill this morning, it's a lovely day. The sun is setting off to my face here. And there's just enough mist lifting up off the ground so that you can see the perfect orb of the sun. And yet you can also look directly at it, because the mist is just so light that it acts sort of like a sunglass lens. The snow is an incredible white. We've had snow for weeks now. Mount Shasta is as gorgeous as ever. And as I was coming up, I got the beauty of some of the things that I guess we all seek in life. Those moments when nature just sort of gives you a glimpse into something beyond. When the sunlight hits the snowflakes here, it produces a diamond effect. And that diamond effect, we all see it on the snow, appears to be enhanced by elevation. And at certain elevations, rainbows begin to shine. Rainbows across fields of white where a color band could be 15 to 20 foot wide. And all of a sudden you look up and your eye catches a spectacle of nature that is beyond words. And I notice as I also come up and I see and I feel these things, I also see that as I come up higher and higher in elevation, the physical things that one wakes up with early in the morning, or the ideas that start to begin to rise as the mind begins to fire up and move. It appears to get started also with all of the things that it has placed the most amount of energy onto. And as I begin to ride up the mountain, I begin to feel the intensity of each one of these things begin to peel off. As during the day you try to diminish the amount of intensity of those particular thought forms that are growing you in certain ways. I notice that as I get up here, I become lighter and clearer. And the thoughts that go to immediately pull me onto the everyday world seem to dissipate. I am so thankful to give every morning of my life a good morning to God. I have found that by being raised in a Catholic grade school, every morning before I went to school, I did Mass. Now, you can remember when you were a kid from first grade to 8th grade, you really didn't know what was going on, and Mass was still kind of mysterious. And so as part of your schooling in the parochial schools, you went to Mass every day. And so my day did, in actuality, start off with God, which is a gift that I am just so thankful for. High school was like pretty much the same, but I would go in the morning, but due to pressure, because you didn't have to go, and due to peer pressure of all of the cool people not going to church anymore, because that was what was cool, I eventually just broke out of that habit and let that go. But I noticed that in some way, shape, or form, I gave acknowledgement in some way to this divine essence. Now, I also know that retroactive doesn't necessarily work on this planet, but I do know that here and now works. And I do know that retroactive is more or less repetition. And so I've discovered that through repetition and enhancing my divinity each day, by getting into that godness, taking that early morning moment to get into that God, really does burn off those physical pressures of the day that immediately jump on us. And so I suggest to you, because it's always here and now, take that morning break, and instead of just going right into the mind, go into godness. If you don't have a mountain to drive up to, hey, when I'm on the road, I don't have this mountain to drive up to. So you sit in your bed, or you sit in a chair, or you sit on the floor, or you sit on the pot, or you sit in the tub, or you stand in the shower if you don't have much time, and you grab the godness. And you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, and you see that because of pressures of the day and all of the other things, you've only got 5 minutes because you slept in late and you did all of the other things. Well, you look in the mirror and you say, "Good morning, God." And you sit there or stand there, whatever the case may be. And you go, "Wow, thank you, God, for letting all the poisons out of my body." And taking with it all of the waste and all of the old thoughts out through a physical means. And I bless this and I thank this. And you acknowledge those simple everyday things, because those are the things that we all do. Not all of us got to go to parochial school, and so not all of us got to hang out with the divine every morning before their day started. But not all of you got told a group of unusual stories either for those 8 years, and have to deal with that now. But hey, it's all in part of the growing. Judge nothing, because there's nothing greater than or less than. I guess what you're getting from me is a summary and a support system again, saying, hey, don't forget, every moment, every day, give those moments to God. Because the physical moments know how to take their time. You have to stand for your divinity and express it and take those moments. And so as I come up here with those moments, I devote these moments in the morning to that divineness, and I can feel those levels pull off as I start to tune in, even as I just wash my face or stand there and taking the shower, saying to myself, the negative ions just rushing over me with the body, and regenerizing my body and energizing my body, and just thank you, God, for allowing me to bathe in the pure baptism of water. See, I can turn every act into some sort of divine insight. Repetition, repetition, repetition. You've got to do it every morning anyhow. Some of us looked at it in the past as a struggle. See it as a positive attribute. For those of us who saw it as a positive attribute, see it for even more. Enhance it. It is limitless, just as you are as God. Every action that you start off the day with, if you started off in a divine thought, then hey, my brothers and sisters, look what we're doing for ourselves. We're putting energy into a very, very divine move. By the time the day looks at us, we've got repetition of the divinity. What a beautiful day, what a pleasant thing, things are perfect. And it supports all of the other things that we use through our day to keep us on that divine track. You see, all of this is about you experiencing your divinity. These are all of the things that I can tell you to do to enhance every moment. People say, well, what can you do every second of the day? Hey, you know how long it takes you to get ready in the morning? How long does it take you? So turn that into a however many minute long essence it takes you to become a divine inspiration for the day, instead of I'm late to this, that, and the other thing. Hey, you can still be late, So you're late, so you overslept, so your reality is different than everybody else, so you've got to run like a maniac. Does that mean you forget about going into the restroom? No, I don't think so. I think you still get in there. And so you're going to take those moments Okay, and so while you're on those moments, look into the mirror. Hey, good morning, good morning. Hey, I love you. And I see that brightness in your eyes. It may be clouded over with red and fogginess from the night before, but that was indeed the night before. And this is now. There's no sense in programming into the self that you're going to have a terrible day because you partied your brains out the night before and you didn't get into an hour ago, and you don't want to see the sparkling bright eyes in the mirror because they are bloodshot and you are tired, or you stayed up all night and worked on a proposal, or you had a sick child and you were up all night, or hey, pick whatever the reason is. They're all good reasons. It's never outside of ourselves. We created them. And then grow. Yeah. I know I only had 10 minutes worth of sleep. Yeah, I know that I could buy into my old concepts and say, hey, you're going to be tired. I don't care about that divine stuff. Look at yourself. You're going to be tired. You look at that and you go, hey, that was old programming. I don't need that old programming. I don't need that old concept. Wow. I know because I am in the totality. The light is going to sustain me, regardless of my concept of time, contents of what I may have placed into my body, being up all night, being sick with someone or yourself, or whatever the situation is, it is here and now. I'm a divine being of light, and I am on it. And then you shower. And you may not. Hey, you may be really short of time. But, like people say, well, what can you do in every second? In every one of those seconds, you support yourself in being a loving being, being a God creation. Don't start supporting yourself with, okay, what do I have to do in business today to get ahead of myself? What do I have to do at the plant to protect myself from all of the gossip that's going on? What do I have to do to make my paycheck work today? What do I have to do to get the sandwiches made? What do I have to do to get the kids off? What do I have to do to get all the... What do I have... Hey, what you need to do, if you want to support yourself, is tune into your God self. Hey, I'm the being of God. I'm a being of God. And so you get that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. For some people, you take, maybe a half hour, an hour to get ready. Well, use all that time, loves. Use it. Be it. Yeah. So those are just some kind of pointers to get us rolling. And so as I come up the hill in the morning, and as the snow gets deeper and, you begin to get into the challenge and into the excitement of, oh, wow, and the road and the drive is getting harder. And I've got the windows down because, I like to get as much space into the car as possible. And I don't have my jacket really bundled, but, going from 3,000 feet to 10,000 feet, and temperature drops of about 10 to 15 degrees. I'm just sort of kind of scrunching up myself here as I let this about 20-something degree day blow over me up here at this time. It'll be warmer, of course, later in the day, but this is when the energy is happening. This is what it's about. This is when your state of clarity is just so clear. I look at the snow. The snow is exciting up here. See, the higher up you get, the more electric the snow becomes. That, in simple terms, means that in the color frequency, the white goes more towards cold. In other words, the ultraviolets, rather than towards warmth or melting or the infrareds. Now, when it gets a real nice breeze up here, this snow turns turquoise blue, and you can see it in every ripple now, or every divot in the snow. When you can see a color and you don't have to be clairvoyant, and there's just this blue, beautiful turquoise essence just rolling across hillsides, it's hot. It is exciting, and you're sitting in it. I mean, so, on days when, if you're hearing me sniffle and you're hearing like this, see, that's rustling of coats. It's cold up here. And like when I go, that's me trying to clear my head because there's not a whole lot of air up here either. See, at 10,000 feet in airplanes, they turn on the oxygen. And they do that because it gets very light. Now, after a storm, the oxygen is very light, 7,000 feet. And the reason it does that is because of the storm. The electricity, it eats up different things to create such high frequencies. I mean, that's why I live here. That's why I hang out here. That's why masters live at such high elevations. I am a modern day master. It is sort of like to be a master in the olden days when you didn't have transportation. And hey, it's great to teleport and it's great to dematerialize, but you know what? That's physical jive stuff, and I don't like to be bothered with it, and nobody else does. It's more fun to walk. It's really more fun to have an adventure in riding in a plane. To just go boop boop is just sort of ego stuff, unless you're really doing God's work and the difference. I mean, there's really a difference. And so being a modern day Western master, it's sort of like the masters who were enlightened for thousands of years, they had to stay up in these high elevations, freezing cold weather. Hey, that's why they learned how to melt the snow. I mean, in order to get the higher states of awareness, they had to stay up where it was cold. So they had all summer to practice the tricks. And so they did. Because to walk down to where the snow's at, there's a lot of thought forms down there, and you don't stay as clear, and you have to walk back up to the top. And so they would just stay there. Now, being a Western master, we have a thing called an automobile. And we have a road that comes up to 9,000 or 10,000 feet, depending on the snow. Sometimes 7,000 or 8,000 feet. Sometimes 3,000 feet. But most of the time, in the modern vehicle, magic, modern science, alchemy, turning dirt into metal, and then turning that metal, alchemy, into something that produces power, and then turning something that produces into power into something that actually moves with that power. And bingo, an automobile. And so now Dennis can work in the everyday scenario, jump into his modern everyday vehicle, shoot up the mountain, and as I come up, just drop off all of the scenarios that kind of hang out with me. Those physical things. The everyday thoughts that start out with us in the morning. And so it really does help me, being a Western master, to drive up this mountain. It gives me that extra little something. And in modern day times, for Western man, every Western man is looking for that little something extra. That little competitive edge. That little whatever it takes to get you over the top. And it's the same way with divinity. I mean, just because you become self-realized doesn't mean you ever stop. As a physical human being, you find joy and excitement and bliss in being a personality and growing. And within that growth, there's that excitement because you don't know what's coming up. And yet you're totally excited because because everything is so new, and you're always so ever expanding, just like God. God does it in a loving way, and He has found that is the best aspect so far, and it's had billions and billions and trillions and zillions of years to work on it. As consciousness, as form, as all those things. And now we are just expanding in its same aspect. And as we have grown, we've discovered that if we expand in love, we also will expand. We have discovered that if we expand that love and understand all of the love that is around us, we will become all of that love. And we will grow into a spirit. And we will grow into something that is so much more than just the physical essence. And it is that why we do all of this. It was that why I have done all of this. It's all of this that keeps me aware of every split second in time because, hey, you know what? There is a God, and that is no jive. And it is in you, and it is around you, and it is over you, and its very thought of itself has made you. And if you can take all of those pieces that it has given you and begin to realize that you are all of these things, a whole, not limited to the form, but a whole to all things, this is the picture. Work with it. See it. It is who you are. It isn't something difficult to understand. I think that through feelings and knowings and expressings and giving you all of the insights on all of these tapes, I have given you insights so simply, with so much caring and loving, that if you just allow yourself, trust yourself, be yourself, see who it is that you are, man. If you have not allowed yourself to really be in the light, remember those moments when you were like so clear and so accelerated and so high and just so clean with everything that was going on? Those moments are yours all the time. Not something that you remembered when you were as a child, or something you remembered that happened to you a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, or a few years ago. God, I'm looking in the sky as I talk with you, and I get into the wonders of totality, and as I see you and feel you, I want to express how beautiful it is, and how the clouds are dancing and moving, and it is you, because as you hear this tape, it's here and now. You feed the excitement. The excitement is dancing around me. I am the excitement. You are the excitement. We are the whole. We are the one. Become the one. Reach into the one. You are the one. You are God. God manifest. All divine. As your energy excites and moves, I feel it. It is what brings that joy and that energy into me. And it is that joy and that energy that I give back to you. It's like I have so much joy and so much energy. It's like I just have to give it back. It overwhelms me. It will overwhelm you. That joy, that bliss, that love, that light. You will just get so excited. You will be overwhelmed. It's like all I can do to not cry, but there's like just so much joy. And so I give this to you because it is what you are. It is my gift as totality, because you have given me all of the love that you are, that you give to me. Because you are whole, and I feel that wholeness, and I give back to the wholeness, because that's all there is. As you love yourself, you love the whole, which is all of the masters, and all of those things that you put so special energy into. All that special energy comes back to you. And I look down, and the diamonds and the colors, they radiate to me. And so in enthusiasm, I express that back to you. You are those diamonds. You are that light. And as my very words comes out, the light becomes more, and the sun grows. And I don't know how it gets more intense, but there's more colors. And they dance on the snow. And I love you. And this is what it is about. It is about that spiritual love. It is about these moments that we can share. It's not about the physical stuff and judgments and who's right and who's wrong. Man, it is about this. It isn't about judgments. It isn't about the physical plane. It isn't about the job. It isn't about money. It isn't about your mate. It isn't about finding the perfect being. You are the perfect being. You in the whole, when you express that, God, you will see everybody is the perfect being. Everybody is the perfect mate. Of course, as a personality on those levels, and as a physical structure, you will make decisions in those levels also. But don't you get it? Everybody's the mate. Everybody's the perfect expression. I've worked on that for years. Through affirmations, it keeps giving me more and more insights, more and more understandings to it. I'm sitting here, I'm watching snow blow over the top of the ground where all of the colors are sitting, and I want to express that even though the snow is blankets of white, which is basically an opaque sheet of white, as the snow just rolls over where I'm sitting, the colors don't move. Now, if the colors were just reflections coming off the snow, it's just sort of like a rainbow, and it's reflecting in itself against the crystal of the snowflake. But when all the snowflakes move and the colors stay, it is a sight to behold, and it's just something I want to share with you. It's like I'm really enjoying being aware of the obvious and expressing the whole and expressing my divinity. Even with all of the energies that the planet places on me from day to day, and all of the energies that I place, of course I'm the planet, I mean don't forget that, I'm just talking levels. Because it's never outside of myself, and so all of the pressures and things that I've placed on myself for growth within the planet. And I mean, as we each grow, we can really create some really outrageous scenarios. People and places and things that appear to come from nowhere and really test your center. And do you really judge? And come out with, what do they call it, the gnashing and clashing of teeth? But what I've learned, people, is don't buy into any of it, because none of it's real. All that is real is your divinity. Regardless what you pick and choose down on the physical plane, who you choose, where you choose, what you choose, just remember that the choice is just some jive stuff on the physical plane along with all of the stories and stuff that goes with it. Step up to your divinity. Let go of all of that stuff just for the moment. It'll be there when you get back onto your physical plane. Go to that divinity. Go for that godness. Go for your self-expression, and it will give you back a millionfold expression of love and beauty. Whether it be on this tape, or sitting on this mountain, or meditating while you're in the bed, or brushing your teeth, or taking a shower. Hey, it will express itself back to you, and that is what you want. You don't want the things of the world. Even the things of the world talking and telling you that they're God. Forget that stuff. God is when you are alone, like in this moment, and nothing else is interfering with you. Not ideas, not concepts, not nothing. And then you express yourself, and you be that self. Because that's what your divinity is. You are that God. You are that divinity. Forget all of that crazy stuff of the day. It'll be there. And it'll be there on all the levels. And you'll grow to hold this level down there and that stuff. Or all around you. Or whatever. You will learn how to be your center. Your godness. Your sun. You, the creating sun that will shine light to all of the places around you. Not by you being right or wrong, or good or bad, or all of that other stuff, but just by you being the light. And this light, hey, the light can be seen. The light shows, the light shines. It's like this light coming off this snow. Yeah, more snow's blowing over it, so you shouldn't even be seeing the rainbows, but hey, you know what? Without moving, they are just staying there, and it is brilliant sunlight beyond your wildest concepts. Light flashing, just twinkling. It's just holding there on an opaqueness. It's not moving. It is the beauty of creation. Time stops and lets you see that you are time when you become the divine and the light. And all that you are, that limitlessness that you are, the beauty that you are. Just keep telling yourself you love yourself until this tape runs out.